Dear consultants, dear friends, dear guests, it is with much gratitude that I join my colleague Alan Schneider, the director of B'nai B'rith World Center in Jerusalem, in welcoming you all to the opening of the Liaison's first consultation of leading Protestant Christians worldwide. I am very grateful to the B'nai B'rith organization in general and to Mr. Alan Schneider in particular for sharing a commitment to the betterment of understanding of Israel and the Jewish people within the Christian world. It is thanks to B'nai B'rith's diplomatic proficiency, to the friendly cooperation of the Ministry of Tourism, and to the helpful advice of so many of you, and I must say also I would like especially to thank Dexter for his wonderful advice throughout the whole process of planning, that today we will consult here about issues that lie at the core of mainline Christian churches, namely the commitment to the Jewish people, the state of Israel and its land, and to the Jewish faith, and to the future of Christianity in the Middle East. Already in 1989, the Ecumenical Theological Research Fraternity in Israel published under the editor-in-chief, Malcolm Lowe, the book People, Land and State of Israel, Jewish and Christian Perspectives. This book in 1989 written has become a bestseller ever since, and we have very few copies left, so they are not for sale now, but I just would like to draw your attention to this, that those articles are still very valid and up to date. However, ever since we observed a pandemonium of statements issued by many Protestant church leaders inquiring unsympathetically the existence of the state of the Jewish state, the Jewish right to the land of Israel, and to the morality of the Jewish religion, without giving any credit to the plight of the Christians in the Middle East. That process of some 30 years made obvious that Bible-believing Protestant Christians, faithfully attached to Israel, and to all those with an honest attitude of repent after the Shoah, have been hardly represented by the church administration any longer. The church mainstream was sidelined by a small leadership. Those who summoned the erroneous church administrators to task were marginalized, excluded from public speaking, and made altogether look irrelevant. While not being attended by their shepherds, the members scattered. They felt that they were driven away, as it is written in the book of Jeremiah 23. The Christian response of those who have been edged out has been made obvious, for they have left their churches, and they are in the process of leaving them. Yet still, the influence of a historic monument like the Protestant Church, even if stripped of many of its members, remains. When a church administration votes for BDS or adopts the anti-Christian and anti-Jewish Kairos paper of the World Council of Churches, it still can persuade the uninformed. On October 5th, 2012, and Alan just mentioned it before, the Jewish response was voiced loudly when the organized American Jewish community, JCPA, including B'nai B'rith, the Central Conference of American Rabbis and many others, decided to pull the plug on the long-standing dialogue with churches. In the state of Israel, it looks as if the Protestant church leaders, again, give their voice to anti-Semitism. Not only this time, those church administrators are seen as going even a step further when joining a jihad-like call against the existence of the State of Israel. Such a proclamation is at the core of the PLO Charter of 1964 and was reiterated in Khartoum in 1967. Protestant church leaders once issued, together with the help of Jewish friends, the Declaration of the 10 Points of Seelisberg in 1947, against the lethal replacement theology. Now they proudly support the Kairos paper claiming superiority over the Jewish people. Protestant church leaders who once enjoyed being feted for their adoption of a declaration like the one of the Rhineland Synod in Germany in 1980, painstakingly hammered out with the help of Jewish friends, then pledged a commitment to the creation of the State of Israel as a sign to the faithfulness of God towards his people, embrace now the opposite call, namely that all of the land of Israel belongs to another people. Christians and Jews worldwide are deeply concerned about that development. As the ecclesiastical hierarchy gives little room for maneuvering in regard to Israel, and negotiations between Israel and those church hierarchies have come to a standstill, the Liaison Committee wishes to provide a stage for those Protestant Christians concerned. Networking with colleagues, establishing a platform for restarting a way of Christian life and teaching that sees Israel as a parent in the faith, and speaking freely about the respect for Israel rebuilt, all this may develop over the next days of the consultation. There's also the issue of mission to the Jews. While mission is relevant for the Jewish and the Christian faiths, and certainly was at the time of the end of the Second Temple period, the Liaison Committee stays with Paul's pondering. Having been asked whether his Jewish brethren who do not recognize Jesus as the Messiah will be saved, Paul takes a rabbinical position and says that in view of the Jews, it does not depend on the man who wills or the man who runs, but on God who has mercy. Romans 9, verse 16. The apostle ends with a blessing of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and claims, "How unsearchable are his judgments, and how unfathomable are his ways." Romans 11:33. We cannot see how we today have more knowledge than Paul had regarding mission to the Jews, and therefore will not pursue Christian mission to the Jewish people. Having said this, my studies show that the issue of mission to both non-Jews and non-Christians remains altogether a different matter. We are grateful to many Jewish friends with whom we read the Bible and live a faithful life in Israel. Their loving way of pondering over the divine word is contagious. One such teacher and colleague is our friend Rabbi Dr. Shlomo Riskin. Rabbi Riskin is an internationally renowned educator, speaker, and author. He has in 2007 organized and inaugurated a center, the first Orthodox Jewish center to dialogue with the Christian world, and the Center for Jewish-Christian Understanding and Cooperation in Efrat, his home base. He was recently awarded by Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu the honor of Ambassador for Jewish-Christian Relations. We congratulate you on this. He also got the wonderful award of the Interreligious Dialogue by Pave the Way Foundation. Rabbi Riskin is a founder and chancellor of All Torah, Stone Institutions, one of the largest private educational networks in Israel with over 3,000 students in 9 campuses. In addition, in 1983, Rabbi Riskin re-established the biblical city of Efrat, mentioned in the book of Ruth, and helped cultivate the city's growth to its current population of over 10,000 residents. Rabbi Riskin earned his BA in Greek, Latin, and English literature from Yeshiva University. He got his master's degree in Jewish history, and in 1982, his doctoral degree from the New York University's Department of Near Eastern Languages and Literature. In addition, Rabbi Riskin has published scores and scores of articles and monographs on Judaism and contemporary issues, as well as on the 5 books of Moses, the Torah. Rabbi Riskin was born in Brooklyn, and so the flavor of openness and happiness of Brooklyn is still with him all the time. His joy to be with him. He's married to his wife, dear wife, Vicky. He's married since 1963. They have 4 wonderful married children, and they live all together with his 16 grandchildren in Efrat. Rabbi Riskin, we are looking forward to your keynote lecture now. The floor is yours. Thank you.
The State of Israel, as a necessary and fundamental component in Jewish-Christian relations. I will attempt to speak to you